Hello there, and welcome to the VHS Tapes podcast. And tonight I'm joined by, as usual, sometimes Venom and Lord Heroicus.
Hello there.
Are you gonna introduce yourself, Venom?
Oh, I said hello there.
Oh, you were like it didn't pick you up or something, but oh well. Um, so as the hello there's would suggest, tonight's episode is on the recently concluded Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus, which
I like
is
I like how you always say like as the title suggests or as what you said suggests when people clicked on the title and thumbnail already.
well, that's what I mean.
Eat my ass.
But anyways, so yeah, the show just finished like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I wasn't really keeping track.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say 2 weeks.
Sounds about right. But yeah, since the show just ended, I figured, while it's still all pretty fresh in our heads. I mean, I'm assuming you all have seen it. You definitely did, Heroicus. But Venom, did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I saw it when it all of release.
Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to be sure before we actually got into it.
Understandable.
So I guess we can start off with what are your guys' overall thoughts on the show?
Oh, would you like to go first?
I was being silent to let you go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Such a gentleman.
Yeah, I know. Ladies first, after all. So I liked it. I thought it was good to see Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan. No, Ewan McGregor back in the roles of the worst Star Wars movies. So they got to redeem themselves.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, I also thought it was pretty good. I'll get more into it as we go along.
Yeah, pretty much same here. I thought it was pretty good. It could have been really, really good, but yeah, we'll get into it. Like just some of the things that held it back, in my opinion.
Daring today, aren't we? You
Of
mean to
course.
tell me you didn't 100% like a Star Wars project? There were flaws?
Contrary to what
Impossible.
Instagram will have you believe, fucking all these people that grew up watching the prequels and, basically were in tears when Hayden and Ewan return on screen. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but it was really cool, actually. I thought that was really fucking cool whenever they were on screen together. Yeah, like Venom, you said, in a way, they kind of got to redeem themselves. Like, that was definitely, like, in my opinion, well, that was the best part of the show, I think. Anytime the two of them were on screen together.
Are you referring
Marvel,
to any sequence of Obi-Wan versus Vader, or do you mean like the sequence where it was a flashback of them fighting?
Like, I mean, like, anytime they were on screen together. Like, both in the flashback and in, if you want to say, the present time, like, the present day, I guess.
Alright.
yeah, I would agree. And really, one of the best scenes in the entire show. This I'm not going to go fully into it until we get to it, but at the end of the sixth episode, I forget what planet they're on, but they have that face-off. Oh, beautiful.
I'm not sure. Well, I feel like maybe they mentioned the name of the planet, but it's not like it was, you know, it's not like I think it was a new planet, so it didn't really matter where it was. But yeah, that final duel was just fucking really good. Like especially,
Mhm.
well, it was really good after kind of Obi-Wan gets his like he has like a Spider-Man Homecoming moment where he's like buried alive and he has to like find the strength to get out of there. And
Yeah.
then when he comes out, he basically just goes into god mode.
Mary Sue mode.
Yeah.
Oh, if he was a woman, you would be fucking orgasming all
Oh,
over your fucking phone
shut up.
screen.
Ray lifted more boulders than he did in The Last Jedi, and I wasn't fucking coming my pants over that.
If Obi-Wan was a woman, you would have a doll of him.
What did you say?
If Obi-Wan was a woman, you would have a doll of him.
Okay, first off, for the 500th fucking time, they are not dolls. They are collectible 6-scale figures. Get it through your fucking thick heads.
No.
They do have Obi-Wan figures. The problem is
They're not women.
No! F you. Most of what they already released was the Revenge of the Sith figures, and those are not being made anymore, so I did want an Anakin and Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith, but the figures are normally like $250 each, and now they're selling on eBay for like $700 or $1,000 or more, and I'm just, yeah, no. If I won $500 billion tomorrow, yeah, I'd go buy fucking 20 of them, because it wouldn't fucking matter at that point. But I'm not paying $700 just for that. I'll wait for a potential re-release, or maybe they'll make a figure of them from this show. I'm like, yeah, that'll be fine.
Like, close enough.
Yeah, they're not fucking dolls. I'll fucking strangle your balls if you say that again.
That sounds kind of hot, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess to get back on topic, yeah, I guess, yeah. Also, their first duel was the first time it was like, Obi-Wan sees Vader for the first time in like 10 years, and he's like shitting his pants. And then it was it was actually pretty damn funny when Obi-Wan just like ran away from him, and Vader's just like, "Okay."
You gotta be shitting me right now.
What's it?
I'm in my car. It's fucking pouring. I hope it stops by the time we're done.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't get wet, it should be okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I hope it stops by the time we're done, because then I have to go in the house.
Shit.
If I had a way to shut my PC off from here, I might just sleep out here, but holy fuck. Anyways, sorry, interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all I had to say. Just when Obi-Wan just like ran away from Vader instead of fighting him at first, it was just kind of funny. Like, I wasn't expecting that to happen, and well, ultimately it didn't really matter because they did, clash.
I was initially like not liking the prospect of them even meeting and fighting,
Neither did I.
but
At
like
first.
they did it pretty well in the show. The only thing that this line in A New Hope didn't even really make fully make sense before the show came out, and it still kind of doesn't make sense. Where Vader's like, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Whereas like you didn't leave Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan kicked your ass, chopped off your 3 bitch limbs, and then left you, and then you met up again, and he kicked your ass again and left you again. But where is I don't know.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because, excuse me. I keep mentioning this guy every time we do a fucking like Star Wars thing or whatever. But I watched a Screen Crush video, and it's like one of those like plot holes explained type videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a bunch of people brought up the same exact thing you did, like, like, why did Vader say that if, yeah, like you said, like, Obi-Wan left him? And I think the explanation was, like, he's not speaking literally, he's meaning figuratively, like, the last time we met, I was just a, I was a learner, but now I'm the master. I'm gonna kick your ass. Like I'm gonna kick your ass this time, basically.
Yeah.
Like I'm a master of the dark side when I wasn't before.
Yeah, but still, it just kind of was like, where does the when I left you?
But then, of
That's
course,
the
you can blame it on like, they didn't like when A New Hope was released. They didn't intend on making fucking 3 prequel movies and then Disney buying
yeah.
the franchise and then making a show that didn't. Honestly, I'm gonna be. This is a hot take. A show that didn't need to be made.
Yeah, it didn't need to. It was.
That's not to say like that's not me trying to say it wasn't good or I didn't like it. It's just like I'll be honest. Like when they announced this like years ago, when they wanted to make like they originally wanted this to be a movie, supposedly a movie trilogy. I was one of those people that like and of course a bunch of people were excited, like yeah, Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck are they gonna do? Have Obi-Wan in the desert for 2 hours?
that
Like
that could actually be pretty hot,
I mean, there are 2 suns on or like, Tatooine has 2 suns in the sky, so yeah, it would be pretty fucking hot.
That's the joke.
Oh, I thought you were meaning sexually. Fucking
Well, that
pervert.
too. 2 sons and sex appeal.
But yeah, and of course I was one of those people like on Reddit that would say that, and of course, you know how Reddit works. Like if you say something that's not of the collective mindset, you get downvoted to hell.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember them saying anything about a trilogy. I remember it was just going to be like Kenobi, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
And I'm just like,
yeah, that's what they were. I think that's at least what I heard at the time. But yeah, that like more recently that they've been saying like originally they wanted it to be a movie trilogy, but after Solo quote unquote flopped, they just kind of abandoned that idea.
yeah. Well, Solo only kind of flopped because people got pissy over The Last Jedi. I'm like, well, we're not going to watch this one because that one was bad. And but
Yeah.
Solo actually turned out to be a pretty nice little,
Yeah,
movie.
like it was a surprise. Like it was kind of a surprise. I don't know I forget what the term is, but basically a surprise hit, I guess. Well, not hit, but like yeah, it kind of went under the radar, and then yeah, people later on realized like, oh yeah, this Solo movie that came out, yeah, it's actually pretty good. You guys should watch it. And then fucking Last Jedi whiners are like, no, no, Star Wars is ruined. Brian Johnson. I have him as fucking torture doll, like voodoo shit. They curse Ryan Johnson. They're fucking satanic worship dolls or whatever. I don't know. While drinking their
I
fucking
I wouldn't
Monster
be
Energy
surprised
drinks.
if I wouldn't be surprised if someone actually tried to fucking kill him through a voodoo doll.
Because honestly, I mean, I don't know. There are some people that have some, gripes with the movie. Then I just have to imagine that some of the people that hate the movie are just absolutely deranged and fucking psychotic.
So, like you,
I like The Last Jedi, so checkmate, simp.
simping has nothing to do with it, but okay.
So, on topic with the topic at hand, you were saying that you said that this isn't exactly a necessary show, and I agree to a point, unless the argument is the journey of Obi-Wan, like his cynicism, kind of sinking in, because he gives up on Vader. And even in the original trilogy, when Luke is like, no, there's something within Vader, Obi-Wan is like, no, I've tried, I've done this. It adds a little bit more depth to the original trilogy, but that's just one way of seeing it.
Yeah, like it kind of, now that you mention that, yeah, it kind of makes some of the shit Obi-Wan, like when he was like telling Luke about Vader, like it makes some of the shit he says make more sense. Like the line, like, I think it's like when after it's like in Return of the Jedi, like Luke is asking Ben Kenobi, like, why didn't you tell me he was my father? And why didn't you? He's basically like, why didn't you tell me this before? And he's like, well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view. Like Darth Vader murdered your father, and that was kind of hinted at when in the Kenobi show, like after Obi-Wan like slices Anakin's helmet. There's that emotional moment. And then, Vader says, like, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. Which, by the way, I think Hayden Christensen's best, like, moment of acting in the entire fucking franchise.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That scene alone, where it's the up close and it's the blue, and then once he says, I killed him, and then the lightsaber comes out, it turns to red.
Mm-hmm. And it's like he's almost like grinning as he's saying it.
Mm-hmm. It was just so well done, and the effect of the voice changer.
Oh, that was fucking like they really did a fucking great job with that scene.
That show is worth it just for the last episode alone.
Yeah, and then it's like Obi-Wan's trying to get closure in that fight. Or I guess would you call it closure? I don't know. Like he's trying to almost like make amends, or just kind of like, I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a sense of closure, and then it was just him trying to get the old Anakin back, but failing.
Mm-hmm. Which, of
Like
course, well, I guess let me ask you this: you said you were watching Return of the Jedi before coming on here. Have you seen it before ever, or?
Yeah, I've seen the original trilogy a bunch of times.
Okay.
Especially growing up.
Okay. Yeah, just because it makes Oh yeah, and you just saw Rebels too, so there was actually a very similar scene in Rebels where same thing, Ahsoka like sliced his helmet open just enough to like see his eye and a little bit of his face. It was like a very similar moment. So when I saw that in the episode, I'm like, part of me is like, are they really doing this again? But I mean, it turned out to be a really good scene as well. But then it also makes when Luke like finally removes Vader's entire helmet in Return of the Jedi, like it makes it to that like he was the only one that was able to truly like get under the mask, so to speak, to see Anakin for who he really is.
Definitely, it's symbolic.
And if you're sitting there seeing it, thinking like, oh, they're doing this shit again with the cut on the helmet, I just imagine you just threw up your hands and went, recycle.
Okay. But I mean, in all seriousness, though, yeah, it's like, like I just said, it was like, are they really just doing this exact same thing again?
Right about it.
But oh well, that's just a really minor thing. It turned out to be a great moment. But and what did you guys think of Little Leia? I'm just thinking of like other stuff that I liked about the show.
Would you like to go?
Huh?
What?
Sorry, wait. What are you saying?
I'm going to go
Oh,
on this one.
is Herokus? He's letting you speak first.
What was the question?
What did you guys think of Little Leia?
Oh,
Just because, like, the reason I ask is because, well, I think we knew, like Leia, like young Luke and Leia were going to be in the show. We just didn't know, like, to what extent. But yeah, it turned out like Leia had like a much bigger role in the show than I guess any of us would have thought.
yeah. Oh, I honestly didn't expect her to be in the show at all. I expected, realistically, I thought, like, okay, Kenobi's probably not going to leave Tatooine because he's got to protect Luke. So it's just going to be 6 episodes of him staring at Luke with a pair of binoculars. I'm just like, nah, there's got to be more to it than that. And like the whole Leia thing, happens. He gets called in, and I liked I like how like she's sassy and she fucking you know stands up to her elitist cousin when he's like, "Oh, droids are just fucking servants, we can just push them around." She just like, I didn't write down what she said, but she just fucking went on this whole thing, and he just fucking his eyes are bugging out like he's like, what the fuck?
Like, excuse me?
And I found it really weird that a lot of people online were like, "Oh, little Leia is so fucking cringy. It's not even in line with her character." I'm like, did you people not even watch the original movies? Leia's a sassy fucking pain in the ass.
Like, especially in A New Hope.
Yeah.
It's like, even when she's being rescued, like, from the fucking Death Star, she's like, will somebody get this walking... Or no, that was Empire Strikes Back, never mind, but...
No,
This is some rescue. She says the walking carpet thing in Empire Strikes Back. I know that.
No, she says that in A New Hope.
Oh, whatever.
Fucking fake fan. I'm immediately dethroning you from hosting this episode.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna look it up. But anyway,
I'm
while I do
telling
that,
you.
but anyway,
What was the result? Please, I'm ready to hear this.
hold on.
We're just derailing the entire episode because Six wants to prove a fucking point.
No, you're gloating right now. So you're the one that's holding it
I'm
up.
gloating because I know I'm right.
But the point trying to make is she's a sassy bitch in A New Hope too, just like she is. I mean, 10-year-old girls typically are, anyways. So
Oh,
I would know. I have a younger sister.
fair enough. um, I originally expected us to go episode by episode, but we're kind of just like jumping all over the place. So I do want to point out, I found it funny that instead of just finding Obi-Wan at the beginning of the show, just at his place that we see in the original trilogy, he's just living in a cave and working at a fucking meat factory. Like I was expecting, it to cut to him going into like basically the freezer and just fucking punching a slab of meat like Rocky.
Okay.
But I thought it was kind of funny how he just like he gets stiffed on his pay and then he just like makes up for it by stealing meat. I certainly hope there Ewan has said if they want to do a season 2, I'm down. But it's like they'd have to figure out like, well, what's this going to be about this time? Because it can't just be about, oh no, Leia's in trouble, or again, because that would just be kind of pointless. But I certainly hope it's just 6 episodes of him stealing meat, and then he's underground as a vigilante.
Be fucking
Well,
like I thought about
not a vigilante. Wait, what is it? Fugitive. I don't know why the fuck I mixed those words up, but yeah.
if they do make a season 2. I was trying to think, and if they did this, it would be probably really cool. Fucking maybe have Obi-Wan run around with Hondo and Akka.
That was one of my thoughts as well.
Like have almost like a reunion, but like have the general audiences, the general audiences probably won't know who Hondo is, but
Exactly.
So it's like it'll almost be like an introduction to the masses, and people will probably think he's funny.
I just imagine, the episode just, season 2 starts, look, maybe Obi-Wan and Luke are just hanging out a little. Maybe he's helping at the farm for some reason one day, and then Hondo just shows up, and Obi-Wan just like, God damn it, he's back. I also think a very likely possibility would be probably through flashbacks or something, showing the training with Qui-Gon. Also, this
Oh
time
yeah, we never did get to, because it's like we get Yoda's line in Revenge of the Sith, like, I have training for you, how to basically speak with your old master. We never actually see it. We just see
then,
in this show, it's like he's trying to reach out to Qui-Gon, but doesn't succeed until basically the very last scene of the show.
Yeah, I mean, Qui-Gon was hearing it, and he could have showed up, but he was like, "Oh, you weren't ready." And it's just like, wow, you just fucking waited 10 years to do this shit. You're an asshole, fucking Qui-Gon.
Yeah, I fucking loved his line. It's like you see him and then he's like, "Oh, it took you long enough." It's
like, yeah, ironic.
But anyway, I think I cut you off. What were you saying?
Man, I think that was basically it for that little bit. The only other ideas I had was, this would be a little less likely, if Boba Fett were to somehow come to Tatooine for some reason and find Kenobi, but it's like, he's pretty good at tracking people, so I feel like there's no way they could do that without him getting away. And also, I don't see what reason he would really have to have a grudge with Kenobi, because it's like, it's not like, yeah, he did fight his dad, but he's not the one who ultimately killed his dad. So it's be like,
Right.
there's not much point. There's not much point to that.
Like Boba, his main vendetta is against Mace Windu, who at this point, well, let's be honest, they're gonna probably bring him back at some point somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see. So, the only other thing is maybe there would be some adventure with Luke or something. I don't know, maybe.
Although, isn't it supposed to be like when, well, in A New Hope, where it's like Luke, quote unquote, meets Ben, but I guess, well, it's implied, or like, I guess it doesn't really contradict anything, them meeting at the end of the Kenobi show, because it's like the last time they saw each other was probably like that, that instance. So it's like when he sees it.
I
I mean,
wouldn't.
I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, because when he
Because
meets
it's
him
like,
in A New Hope, he immediately recognizes him. He's also been told by Owen, I want you to stay away from him. I'm pretty sure, at least.
yeah.
So it's like, something had to have happened, whereas like, he let him meet Luke at the end of the show to be like, hey, you saved us and everything, and come say hi to him. And it wouldn't make sense for him to immediately just be like, all right, fuck off. I feel like maybe if they wanted to address that in the second show, maybe something could happen. Maybe let's say Baru got kidnapped by Tusken Raiders, and Obi-Wan and Luke end up going out to find them, because maybe Owen got injured or something, and maybe Owen just resents Obi-Wan after that for putting Luke in some serious danger, but Obi-Wan kind of might have just needed some backup. So maybe that could be something that would be like, that's why he's like, stay the fuck away from that guy. He almost fucking got you killed. And in his perspective, that is, he would have been totally safe.
Yeah, I guess just if Luke never questions it, yeah. I mean, at this age, like, Luke would have been old enough to be aware of, whatever happens. So, like, he would know why Owen would be like, stay away from him.
Yeah. They could also skip ahead, 2-3 years, and that'll put Luke at 13. So they could have an older person come in, maybe. Just get any fucking kid that's got, dirty blonde hair and that works.
But yeah, I guess do we want to move on to some of the things that the show could have done better?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I think the most obvious thing is, well, one of them. I don't really know where to start in particular, but the first thing that comes to mind is sometimes the show looks kind of like either a fan film or it just looks kind of cheap or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'll give a couple of examples right off the top. Okay, sorry. It's July 5th, and people are still setting fireworks off out my window.
That's normal.
It's just, I don't know, I don't get it. But anyway, every time, like, both planets that Obi-Wan and Vader fight on, it's like some dark, rocky world. So it's almost just like, can we have a little bit of variety here? Because it almost seems like, I mean, it happened with Jurassic, like, I can't speak anymore. Like, a lot of the shots in Jurassic Park are at night because it's like, it hides kind of like the imperfections of the special effects or the CGI or whatever. Like darkness is often used as a way to like mask imperfections or just kind of cut corners.
Also, just made it a lot more creepy and menacing.
Yay.
It's an objective fact. So
Well, yeah,
shut
but
your fucking mouth.
well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's the reason why they did it, like, both fucking times. I mean, it's a minor nitpick, but it's stuff like that that just shows like this show didn't have the budget that Mandalorian or even Book of Boba Fett had.
Yeah, well, they had to pay Ewan McGregor.
What is he, an asshole or something?
No, he's
Or
just
just expensive to get?
he's expensive. Let me see here.
And then yeah, just also some of the effects for like the spaceships, like the snow speeders attacking the Fortress Inquisitorius, just look like in real time, like they don't look so bad, but if like especially the part where like the snow speeders are like flying inside the hangar, they just look really fucking like strange or something. Like all the lighting and everything is just off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just I don't know, just stuff like that. And then there's also just I don't know. Sometimes the writing is a little fucking not very good. Like episode 5, like where it's like they're trying to evacuate. Like just I don't know. I'm getting into nitpick territory, but you can tell this show didn't have like the same love and care as like Mandalorian or Book. Like, it didn't have Filoni and Favreau. It had I don't know who wrote it.
Yeah.
So it almost seemed like they were kind of cutting corners, or they just didn't. I think they expected this show to do well just for the fact of Ewan McGregor coming back. So they were just like, yeah, whatever we do, people will watch it anyway. People will like it because it's fucking Obi-Wan.
Alright, so one little scene I can say that I just kind of like rolled my eyes at because it just felt dumb is in episode 1 when the Inquisitors they're like interrogating the whole village and they threaten to kill Owen if nobody speaks up. Well, nobody speaks up. They just end up bickering and leaving, and I'm just like, really? Like, obviously, the only reason that happens is because Owen has plot armor. But still, it's like, could something else have happened? Could somebody have fucking, tried to attack them and, given everyone a chance to just run off? Something. Instead of just, Darth Vader said it's my turn on the Xbox. And just, that's basically what fucking happened.
Yeah, it's like the fucking fifth brother. Just I don't know. He was, well, more than anything, he was just miscast. Like, they should have gotten somebody else to play him because, like, the way he appears in Star Wars Rebels, he's like a much bigger person, I guess. I mean, he's not human, but he's humanoid, I guess. Like they should have gotten somebody like a lot bigger and stronger for the role instead of. I think he was from the Fast and Furious. They essentially
Yeah.
just put him in this suit and put face paint on him, and it was just like, we need you to sound like this. Like it
Yeah.
just didn't fucking translate well.
Before I go into my next thing, Venom, if you got something, go ahead.
So since we're in nitpick territory, my major nitpick that sometimes took me out of scenes was Ewan McGregor is one of the best Star Wars actors because
Oh, definitely.
the scenes he has where he's displaying the emotions and the faces he can do compared to the other people, it just takes me out sometimes because like when since this is a nitpick, this can't be helped. When it's him and Leia, he's doing so good that it makes little Leia look like a terrible actress. And then also other people, because he's just like doing so much good acting, and like you're like, oh, this is Obi-Wan, and then this other guy's talking like this or talking like this.
Yeah, and then I think Reva was like, Moses Ingram. She was also like, a lot of people seem to hate her character. I can kind of see why, but I think, a lot of it's also just undeserved. Like she was really like, as far as her acting, she was really fucking good.
Oh yeah, very intense. And I'd say that she might be one of my favorites of the Kenobi show, because she very much goes through the Anakin story, but in reverse.
Yeah, the way her character turned out was, I mean, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. Yeah, her motives were really interesting, actually. Like she knew, I think it was like she. What am I trying to say? Because I think there was another question in that plot holes explained video, like how did she know Anakin was Darth Vader? And I think the explanation was, I think it was just kind of known that like somebody named Lord Vader attacked the Jedi Temple, so she saw him and was like, ah, shit, it's Darth Vader. Even though he was still Anakin, if that makes sense. Like he wasn't in his Vader suit yet.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, what?
So I was just gonna say, so like when it was a little confusing. Like, if we're meant to interpret what we see on screen literally, Reva survived getting stabbed twice at 2 points in her life. So this show kind of makes lightsaber stab wounds seem not as bad, which makes Qui-Gon's death a little bit strange to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, here the thing with you gotta remember with Qui-Gon is like he's on the light side, so he doesn't have the magical Sith power of like if I'm angry, I can survive anything.
And then the Grand Inquisitor getting stabbed, like, oh man, that fucking sent people in a fucking frenzy online. Like, hey, how is he dead? He's supposed to be in Rebels. And it's, part of me is thinking like, well, yeah, that's kind of weird that they did that, but at the same time, if they have any fucking respect for the continuity, they'll have him come back like towards the end of the show somehow.
And yeah, I have to say, when he showed up and, she's all surprised and he just says, like, oh, the dark side does wonders for someone who's, I forget, it's like basically like
for
really
those
pissed
with the
off.
will to live, basically.
And I'm just like, oh, that was such a horrible fucking line.
Yeah,
it could have been. I mean, the delivery could have been better, and it could have been written a little better. So it just kind of left me sitting there like, oh, somehow the Grand Inquisitor has returned.
That's another nitpick I have. Even before the show came out, like the way the Grand Inquisitor looks.
Yeah.
It's not fucking like, if his species is Powan, which are like the same thing, the same guys from Revenge of the Sith on Utapau, and this like basically what they did with the Grand Inquisitor. It looks like they just they made him look like the Grim Reaper, except with some stripes on his scalp or whatever.
Hey man, don't fear the Reaper. Um, here's something I just thought of is like maybe what they should have done instead of having him as a main character, they could have just. And is this even sounds cheesy in of itself, but I think it might have worked better. Is if they had just had a whole new cast of Inquisitors, ones we haven't seen before, because I don't know if it's just strictly, you know, sister or brother 1 through 10. It could be a lot of that. So they could have picked whatever. Excuse me.
At this point, it almost seems like they're just every time there's a new like Star Wars thing set between the prequels and the original trilogy, it's like, oh, here's this new Inquisitor, and then they get killed off at the end, like in Fallen Order.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And then there's this is kind of a little bit in rumor. It's less of a rumor. I don't know if it's spoiler either, but that that Tales of the Jedi thing coming out later this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's supposedly Ahsoka fights an Inquisitor. Like it was in the leaked trailer, and that's supposed to be like how she got her lightsabers, like that she uses in essentially in Rebels and going into like the Ahsoka show, like the Mandalorian, the Ahsoka show, all that. But anyway,
that confuses me because what I've seen from Tales of the Jedi, what it's supposed to be showing is Ahsoka's origin, literally as a fucking baby, some of her train, and then probably her last episode will be fighting this weird Sith Lord that's coming through a portal, which honestly I don't think is actually a real guy. I think it's like the Jedi trials or something, some kind of test or whatever.
I mean,
And it's just like,
I guess we'll find out when the show actually comes
yeah,
out.
because it doesn't make sense to me. Like if they were to say like it's some Sith Lord that found the ability to fucking open up force portals and attack the Jedi Temple, it's just like number one, why did Sidious and Plagueis not know of his existence? Because they would have taken him out. Number two, if Ahsoka has to beat this guy because she has plot armor till the end of the fucking time, basically. So if she had beat this guy, and this is supposedly before her appearance in
Rebels.
like no, before her appearance like in the Clone Wars, because this is like her as a Padawan or something at the Jedi Temple. It looked like. It's just gonna be like, if she beats this guy, like you think she'd just be like, they'd just be, yep, yeah, you're a Jedi Knight now. You're good.
Oh,
And
I think what you're thinking. Well, the reason I'm saying like it's in her last episode, she fights this Sith thing or whatever it is because that's what happened in the Ahsoka novel. Because it's like
yeah,
however many years into her like in hiding, like maybe 2 or 3 years later, she like comes across an Inquisitor, and I
yeah,
think it's like whatever village she's living in, or like whoever she's living with, or whatever. This Inquisitor comes, and she has to fight him.
yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna look at it again because just something about it. It just looked like she was just, like she still had her green lightsabers. So,
Hmm.
and those are the same as her blue ones because it's just Anakin replaced the crystals or whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make much sense to me. But I'm gonna look. I'm gonna watch it again real quick while you guys talk.
Yeah. Anyway, that was off topic for um. So I guess what else?
Okay, so I just watched it and it it's weird. There's a couple of brief clips. It looks like she's holding a blue lightsaber, so it could be taking place afterwards. But most of the clips show her with her green lightsabers and just in training. So maybe the clips are just out of order. Maybe it goes like maybe episode 1 is this is she's she's a
Like,
baby. She's
mm,
taken to the temple, early training. Episode 2, she's going into more training. Anakin's getting frustrated with her. So maybe since that actually takes place afterwards, after her first introduction, and then maybe episode 3 is like after season 7 and she meets the
yeah,
first Inquisitor. Like that would
that's
make a lot more sense.
that's what makes sense to me. Like, kind of. Let's be honest, they're probably going to retcon even more aspects of the Ahsoka novel. Because, like, the Siege of Mandalore that we saw in the Clone Wars, like, retconned a
Yeah.
lot of, it basically retconned, like, all the details of the Siege of Mandalore in the book, but anyway.
Oh, now I gotta figure out what the hell I was on about before, because you fucking
Something about
interrupted me.
a brand new cast of Inquisitors and something else.
Okay. So what I was saying, what I think they could have done better is instead of having Grand Inquisitor having a huge role, they could have had him just kind of being in charge. And this new cast of Inquisitors, maybe they've just proven themselves or something. They've earned the title, and he's just kind of like in the shadows a little bit, and in his shots, and like orders them to go off and take care of it because maybe he thinks it's beneath him or something. So he doesn't have a huge presence in it, and they can kind of get away with it that way. It's kind of a cheat, but it might have worked better. Instead of the way they made him look, just it doesn't look anything like how he looked in Rebels. He's supposed to be the same species, but it looks like he's cosplaying as that species.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's when I go back, like, when I say, like, this show looks cheap at times, that's, I think, the perfect example. Like, you can tell it's supposed to be the Grand Inquisitor, but yeah, it's like, his species does not look like that, so it's like they
Yeah.
just kind of cheaped out on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, before the show comes on, I'm thinking, like, you know what, maybe they did that for a similar reason that, like, Ahsoka had shorter, like, head tails in The Mandalorian, like, because Rosario Dawson was going to have a hard time doing fight choreography with all that, but
Yeah.
he didn't really even do any he didn't even do any fighting in the show, so what's their excuse?
Yeah.
Money, I guess.
I think like they did say, and they wanted them to be longer originally, and it just wasn't working out. There was movement issues. Then they did say, and there I think pictures came out showing stuff for Ahsoka, and like you can see they're a bit longer. I still don't think they're quite as long as they're supposed to be, but they look a little better.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, they had more time, they figured it out. Because who knows, that the Ahsoka thing could have been like a last minute like addition, and they were like, "Fuck, we gotta do this quick." How do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can screw things up. Because I don't think we've seen that species in live action anywhere.
I
There's
mean, well,
been
there was Shakti in the prequels, but she didn't really have any fighting. She was just one of the,
yeah,
yeah, she was just
she's
essentially
just
a
got this.
background character.
She's got this running gag of in combination of the video games and like deleted scenes. It's like she's supposed to die like on the on Grievous's ship in Revenge of the Sith. Then they took that sequence and it was another deleted scene where they're like, "Hey, maybe we'll just have her get killed in the Jedi Temple." And Anakin just walks up to her and just ignites his lightsaber from behind. And it's just you can see it's the same scene where she dies, but it's just like cropped because they hadn't bothered to do anything. And then she fucking dies in The Force Unleashed, and then somewhere else, I think. And it's just like,
And then, yeah, and then in, like, Clone Wars season 6, I mean, granted, in, like, Yoda's vision or whatever, it's like same thing. Like, Shakti just fucking gets stabbed from behind.
yeah,
It's like,
it's an absolute point across the multiverse. She has to die by getting stabbed from behind.
or eaten by a Sarlacc.
Yeah, in that case. Uh, Well, we're running out of time here, so we should think of. Let's figure out a couple more things to go over.
Um,
Lightsabers,
that
like they do in Rebels.
say again.
They should have had the Inquisitor blade spin like they do in Rebels.
It actually did one time. It was
No,
like
sorry, I mean, does the spin flying?
oh
Oh God! Can you imagine how fucking like that looked goofy in Rebels? Imagine how goofy that would look in live action.
It would have
dude,
been hilarious.
it's like I mean the Inquisitors already look goofy in this show. They should have just fucking if they really wanted to fucking send the fans in a fucking uproar online, just have them do that. That would have been honestly pretty funny. Just
Yeah,
like you know
honestly,
what, just take it to the extreme. Just
I don't get fucking enraged like some people do when that happens in Rebels. It's dumb. I get it, but it's just like it's whatever. It's more of a comedic thing in Rebels, unintentionally. When they do it, it's just like, oh, I'm getting beat, and they just fucking hold it up and just fly away.
like fucking Mary Poppins.
Yeah, it's dumb, but it's like whatever.
They
I'm glad. I don't think they did that in Fallen Order.
didn't. I don't think so, at least.
Which was nice.
Not even as like a little thing in combat. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, there's something else I was gonna say. And of course, I mean, so there's another. Yeah, it's speaking of the Fortress Inquisitorius. Like we see it. Like that's the same. At least I'm pretty sure it's the same. Um. Fucking building from Fallen Order from like the final level. The only reason I'm pretty sure is because the building looks just a little bit different in both properties.
Yeah, it's the thing is you have to remember it's like I believe it's the same planet. Like it's a water planet in the Mustafar system, so it's like
I mean,
it has to be.
they said in both, like they explicitly said in both things, like it's the planet Nur.
Yeah.
And it's Fortress Inquisitorius.
Also,
So unless there's like another entrance that we just didn't see, I don't know.
But also, Fallen Order was 5 years after Order 66, and then this is 10 years. So it's like, and in that 5-year gap, they had time to like probably rebuild portions of it. It's like maybe you shouldn't have built it underwater with fucking glass.
Yeah, because it's funny how also in both things it's like they fucking are able to escape by just breaking a window essentially.
Yeah, and you just know that when it happened the first time, the janitorial crew had to come in and the engineering crew had to come in. They had to seal everything off, and janitorial had to mop all this shit up, and like then this happens, and it's just like, oh fucking not again.
Yeah, and it was also kind of funny. I think the fifth brother said like he nearly destroyed the base. It's like, well, he destroyed a hallway. That's really about it.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly,
and then like the hangar kind of got messed up a little bit. He's making it sound like the base almost got fucking blown up or something.
Yeah, overreacting. Let me see. So I want to point out something from episode 2 real quick here. If you didn't know, the when Obi-Wan lands on Dayu and he's trying to find Leia, the girl that like bumps into him and like tries to give him space drugs is Ewan McGregor's daughter. And I found that funny. Also, I'm just like, I was half expecting him to just be like, wait, all right, this will be the one time I use. Well, not that, because like I didn't know that at first, but I expected him to just like, this is the one time I'm going to use the Force, and he's just going to wave his hand and be like, you want to go home and rethink your life. But like, I think that might have been too on the nose with fan service.
Yeah, I mean, they were already like pushing the boundaries of fan service a bit with the hello there at the end.
I liked that. It was nice.
I mean, it was, but
People were expecting him to just walk on screen in the first frame of the show and just be like, "Hello there" to fucking nobody, just because he's Obi-Wan. And like he doesn't say it the same way to Luke. He just
he
it's a
says
little
it
more
more like Alec
casual.
Guinness, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Uh, another two things that kind of all happened all at once is when he meets I think it's Haja, played by the same guy
Yeah, yeah.
Who played Kingo from Eternals, which is one of the worst Marvel movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's a topic for another time. But how he's pretending to be a Jedi and Obi-Wan just like fucking takes a 5 minutes to just utterly roast this guy into oblivion. It's like you've got fucking magnets. I'm surprised Obi-Wan didn't just like force push him to be like, hey, fuck you. Don't fucking make a mockery of my fucking religion here. And then Obi-Wan literally just goes all Heisenberg and makes a chemical explosion.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Dude, you know what was funny as shit? Like, like the main kidnapper, the old looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, Venom.
Yeah.
I figured you knew that, but so it's just kind of funny. Think like like you said, the scene where Obi-Wan essentially like blasted the room with his drug powder or whatever, and they're all just like high. I'm just like I couldn't help but think like I don't think Flea's acting here.
Venom, are you falling asleep?
Yeah.
Are you
You're a
in
whore.
bed? Do we need to fucking tuck you in? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
peacefully in there. That I didn't know it was him until someone told me.
neither that dude, I was laughing my ass off. Like I noticed the other day when I was like rewatching with a couple of friends. I was rewatching it and he's literally credited as Flea with the fucking music playing, in the Star Wars fashion, you know, and it's just Flea. Funny as shit. Like not even his real name.
That's great.
So also going forward several episodes, the flashback duel.
Oh, that was
That,
great.
yeah, it was pretty good. The end of it, the where he's disarms Obi-Wan and just like your weapon's gone, it's over. And then Obi-Wan just ends up taking Anakin's lightsaber away from him and just says, "You need for victory, Anakin." It blinds you. It to me, it kind of makes the "It's over, Anakin" from Revenge of the Sith a little bit more heartbreaking because he's kind of saying the same thing Anakin said with the
Mm.
"It's over," and it also becomes more funny because Anakin's "I hate you" just kind of comes off more like, "Oh, fuck off, you fucking shitter." So
Yeah,
I think that's I'm just gonna be laughing at that scene now for a little while.
and I saw also some comment or well, not comments, but like apparently people were bitching about Hayden not being de-aged or whatever. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like you get this scene that you
Yeah,
know it's like it finally happens and then you're complaining about like, oh, they weren't de-aged. It's like like he still looks really fucking good otherwise.
yeah.
Like, yeah, he looks a little older, but I mean,
I
everything
think
else is like on point.
I think they could have done it still, a little bit. It would have made it look a little because it did look a little off. Like Ewan kind of looks all right,
Yeah.
but Ewan, I mean, no, not Ewan, Hayden does look older than he was.
I mean,
If it
yeah.
had been, if they had done this as like something that was like pre Revenge of the Sith or something, maybe it was like a few months after the duel with Dooku or something, and maybe his outfit's still undergoing change to what it's going to look like in Revenge of the Sith, and they had a duel there. His hair is longer. It might not have looked as.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. That's just my take on that.
And then I guess I can just ask the question real quick. When in the timeline do you think that duel takes place? Because it's like
It has to.
what I heard. Well, I mean, yeah, it has to be before the end of Attack of the Clones, but could it be since like the opening shot is like you see Padme's apartment? Do you think maybe it's after the first scene where it's like they meet Padme again after 10 years, but before the rest of the movie? Because it's like because they're hinting at I think the reason people think that is because it's like I think that might be his duel where it's like Obi-Wan's determining how ready he is to be a Jedi Knight and he's not. But then yeah, later in the movie when Anakin goes off to find his mother in the Tusken Raiders and she dies and he's like venting to Padme like, Obi-Wan's jealous. He's holding me back. Like he could be referring to that duel like he didn't make me a Jedi master. He's holding me back.
Jedi Master. Wow, he's
Or
Obi-Wan's
Jedi Knight.
over him.
Fucking, you know what I mean. You know what the fuck I mean.
Anakin, you've done so well. You're going to be my master now.
You're gonna bypass fucking my rank. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. That could be it. Possibly.
Recently?
Let me see here. As something I gotta find funny is as cool as it was with Vader like catching the ship as it took off and pulling it down, ripping it, only to find out it was just a decoy. It's like, okay, I don't remember them having a second ship in there, and also it's like, so you mean to tell me they've crammed everyone onto that little ship, like all 300 people that were in there, and then just like, okay, let's one person pilot the other one. I don't know. It was a little goofy like that or something.
Yeah, it seemed. I don't know. Like I think that's what I mean by like the writing at times wasn't that great.
Yeah. I think that could have. I would have had this setting be a little different. I would have had the ship have originally landed in a cave instead of like a little port like it did. And like could have played out similarly with, Obi-Wan on board the ship. Vader stops it, rips it open, but like Obi-Wan steps out and like, you know, goes to duel him, and then Vader would pretty much just let the ship probably go away. Wouldn't even care about it at all because he'd have what he wanted. Which would then translate to when he talks to Palpatine at the end, he'd have been like, "You let them get away because your vision was clouded by Kenobi, you bitch."
Which, there's one more. I'm just gonna bring this one more thing up, and then we can end the episode in just a few minutes. Also, Venom, if you're still awake, since you've just seen Rebels, well, there was a line in like the season 2 premiere where it's like, Vader is like talking to Palpatine, and it's like after he finds out Ahsoka's still alive, and Ahsoka could lead us to other lost Jedi, such as Kenobi. Of course, when that episode came out, it was referring to like he hadn't seen Kenobi since their duel on Mustafar, but now canonically, it's like since Obi-Wan just kind of walked away from their last duel, and like Vader's like screaming for him, like get back here and finish me, you fucking coward, or let me kill you, or whatever he wanted to do. So like he wanted to find him so bad. So they kind of kept that still canonically accurate, just not with the same, I guess, subtext as before, if that's the word.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Adam initially didn't say anything right away when Six paused earlier. I'm like, oh, has he actually fallen asleep? Honestly, it's gonna happen someday, and it's gonna be the funniest shit ever. It's like, wow, Venom was so bored he just passed out during this episode. But yeah, I missed my opportunity to say it earlier. I do not hate the character of Reva, but I think she could have been a little more fleshed out. And it's kind of weird. I think it's like sometimes her line delivery is pretty good, and then sometimes it just comes off really. It's subpar, like a lot of the other characters are. And yeah, it could have been better. Also, speaking of that, the one of the last few bits of the show is just I find it funny how even though she's wounded, that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru just fucking go ballistic on her, almost taking out an Inquisitor who's also had a little bit of Jedi training as well, not much, but
I mean, I don't think they knew she was wounded. They just saw her as a fucking intruder.
I know, but like still that like they held their own pretty well for a little bit. And then, yeah, they're just gonna get fucking annihilated by stormtroopers 9 years later. But then again, it might have been like, probably were a lot of them.
Yeah, like I imagine it was like not just any stormtroopers, like maybe, I mean, something like the Death Star plans, they probably sent fucking death troopers to the Lars homestead.
Yeah.
And then maybe even some flame troopers.
I like the meme that was floating around where it's like, it shows them in the kitchen or something, just like, oh, first we had to deal with that fucking Inquisitor years ago, and now we just had to deal with some fucking stormtroopers, and then they step outside, and like, the burned bodies are actually just 2 clone troopers that they fucking demolish, and they're like, well, we can just leave these here, Luke and Obi-Wan will think it's us, we can just go start a new life somewhere else, we're free, let's get the fuck out of here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It's like, did the flame, like, if there were flame troopers that just burned them, like, did they literally just fucking? I mean, like, I guess was it not enough to just like burn them like Anakin? Like, did they have to fucking burn them all the way to the bone? Like, what did they do that fucking warranted that? I wonder.
Well, who knows? Maybe they actually held their own a little bit there and took out some guys, and finally someone came in like, I'm fucking shit up here, and they just cleaned up all the Imperial bodies and left them. There was no other evidence. Either that, or some people have theorized it was Boba Fett that actually showed up and took care of them. Which
I don't know, would seem to make sense, but I don't know, wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah.
As if like, a whole squadron of, elite troopers or whatever came in and absolutely fucking destroyed them.
Well, yeah, I guess we can wrap things up now.
Yeah, or if we keep going for another minute, we could probably start hearing Venom snore. But yeah, I got nothing else, so I guess if nobody else has anything, last chance.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, then I guess that'll do it for this episode of the VHS Tapes podcast. And let us know in the comments what you guys thought of the show and if you agree with some of the things we say or not. Yeah. Thanks for watching and or listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
And also, I'd like to just take a second to note, we will be talking about every single movie and all of the shows except Resistance.
Well, I can do like a mini one on that, but we'll
No, I don't think you will.
Yeah, I don't really want to rewatch it.
I'll gatekeep you from doing it. Then you go on your channel, you make like a 3-hour discussion with yourself. But anyway, yeah. See ya.
Piss.